This is gonna be voted down, like, for sure. And like, before I give them the satisfaction of voting this thing down, I'm pulling this effing deal from them. And that's what I did. I went up to the microphone, I said, screw this.
This was supposed to be fun. This was supposed to be an opportunity to give back.
You're using it.
Listen to me. Half of you guys are sponsored by this corrupt money. Half of you guys don't even live here permanently. Half of you guys are out of the country.
According to whom? According to you?
Yeah, of course I do. Your kids are an experiment. They have no business owning.
Oof, wow. I mean, when I watched that video, it brings back so much emotion. I mean, I was standing there in the heart of that with you, and I just, there's even more to the video that we're not showing here, but it was intense.
That was intense.
Will you explain to us, give us a little background? How did this happen? What led into it?
What's this all about?
Where did you come from? How did you get here? How did you come into your success?
Oh, my financial success?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, as you know, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a technologist.
Anti-vaxxer serial entrepreneur, don't forget.
Reluctant anti-vaxxer activist, serial tech entrepreneur. But my big hit, I had a bunch of exits, but my big one had to do with some innovations that I made in the electronic toll collection arena, like Easy Pass, Sun Pass, Fast Pass.
Called you the Toll King.
I'm the Toll King. I'm the Toll King. So if you ever rent a car to this day and you can pay for your tolls electronically with a device in the windshield or whatever, that's my patent, my innovation. I developed some software. I wrote the code myself from my attic, and from nothing. And by the time I sold it 16 years later, we had 4 million cars driving around using this service that people grew to love. And so
you're a super smart guy.
thanks,
That's for sure.
honey. Yeah.
One of the smartest I know. What happened?
Okay, so this is at City Hall in Miami, the city of Miami, and I have to back up a little bit to give it a little context. So I'm a native Miami, and I was born and raised here in Miami, and I've had a very successful tech career in New York. A bunch of years back, we moved back to Miami. I've been asking you to move to Miami for a long time. I finally realized my dream to move back to the place where I was born. Sold our company.
You didn't have to sell me on it, though. The weather, I was like...
You loved it. The moment we arrived, you're like, why didn't we do this years ago? Yeah. But our kids were at the perfect age. It was great. And sold the company, and I'm a product of the Miami public school system.
I remember stories of you never having brand new shoes. Having shoes that talked to you, that used to flap when you walked. I mean, I feel like these are important points because you came from literally nothing.
My shoes were so beat up that they developed holes in the soles, and when I would walk, I'd be careful I didn't walk in a puddle because my socks would get soaking wet. And sometimes when I would walk too fast, the top would open up over the top of my toes.
Wait, why are we both getting emotional over this? Wait, you're gonna mess up my makeup.
The top of my shoes would open up, and I would think, please, I hope nobody just saw that. That was just so embarrassing. And I my hair's curly, and we couldn't afford to get haircuts, and my hair, when it grows long, like resembles like a chia pet, you know. It grows out like this instead of down. I wish I had the kind of hair that had gravity to it, you know.
You had a real Jufro.
I had a real Jufro. And
But you were super cute, though.
I don't think so.
You were adorable.
Nerdy glasses, thick Coke bottles.
You were
I couldn't see shit.
If I would have seen you at that age, I would have been in love with you.
I know you say that. You're very kind. And nonetheless, I did pretty well for myself. And we moved back to Miami, and I wanted to make a grand gesture. And as you know, we started at a school, and middle school, high school, which was the elementary,
Well,
middle
just to
school.
back up a little, I remember you
What?
saying you were working at a pizza place since you were 16.
Frankie's Pizza
And you were
on Bird
able-
Road.
Yeah, the pizza's amazing, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I mean, first time I tried it, I was like, "Wow, this is real pizza." It was delicious. But you were very passionate about wanting to come back to where you were born and just giving back to the city that grew you, even though it was a hard life. You were blessed to be alive, and you were blessed to be so successful. Is that right?
It's exactly right. I'm very grateful, even for the rough times. It's actually helped develop the person that I am today. So you're absolutely right. And we talked about that a lot. And you supported me,
did.
You did. One of the first grand gestures we did is we gave a lot of money to the Lotus House, huge, multi-million-dollar grant to sponsor their culinary kitchen to help develop women who are in abusive relationships so they can learn some hospitality skills, so they can go out and get jobs, and our focus on women and children. We did some really, really nice things. In fact, I think one pre-cancellation attempts, we were considered Miami's most philanthropic power couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. We enjoy this stuff a lot, a lot. It gives us a lot of satisfaction to bring things to other people, especially that's kind of sustainable.
That's right.
And so,
What's that old saying? You can teach, you can give somebody fish, or you could teach them how to fish. So we fell in love with that program because they were teaching these women how to cook, so they could get their own jobs and not be dependent on the government. And it really checked the box
Yeah.
for one of our giving criteria.
Everything we do in that way provides a skill set so they can elevate themselves and never look back.
Yeah.
So we started a school. One of the campuses was right across the street from a public park. And I'm being very kind by calling it a public park. Yeah. It's really a beat up grassy field, dirt and rocks and divots.
And lots of syringes.
Injuries.
On the grass before we started cleaning it up. Gates, homeless people.
Yes. In fact, we came up with the name for a new kind of porn called homeless porn.
Oh my God! Don't remind me of that.
Because we have cameras on the
We
school.
had cameras everywhere, and the things our nighttime security would see and have to call the police.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unimaginable.
yes.
So I had this grand idea to turn this park into something really special. And after school hours, then it'd be open to the community, they could use it. And then one thing led to another. Because I'd lived in the Northeast for so many years, I used to play tennis underneath these inflatable domes in the middle of the wintertime.
Makes the field a lot more accessible, right?
24 hours if we wanted, if the city wanted. So I approached the commissioner who was in charge of our district where the school was located with this idea of we'd like to make a donation to the city of Miami where we, the Centners, will pay for the construction of this domed sports facility, which would have inside of it many tennis courts and basketball courts, a weight room, running track, all kinds of
The design
stuff.
was gorgeous.
Oh my God!
It would have been
Like
state
literally,
of the art.
like a 3.5 acres, I think, huge.
Now, let me get this straight.
What?
Did the city agree to sell you the land? Were you taking over the land? Give me a little more context.
It literally was a $10 million donation for the right to build this and donate the improvements thereupon to the city of Miami.
So wait a minute. You were going to write a check to improve the city land
Yes.
just for the right to use it and exclusively
No.
only? And the public can use it.
Yes.
And right now you can use it.
At the moment now,
Yes.
I mean, it's a park, yeah, sure.
But you're using it now, right?
Yeah, we use it for phys ed,
So-
non-exclusively.
The only difference is, does the public use it now, right now?
I don't ever see them there.
They don't, because it's just dirt and grass.
just-
But will the public
There's some
be
grass.
able to truly use it after this donation?
I mean, I had this vision where just people were using it all the time. It was a super popular hotspot where we would have underprivileged youth basketball, midnight basketball leagues that's what I really wanted.
It would have been so incredible, and it would have become a staple in Miami, and it would have brought together so many neighborhoods.
That neighborhood is not, is on the rise, but, still has some work to do. This was going to be like literally an 8-story tall inflatable dome that airplanes flying overhead would see it and would be like, what is that? And it would be the talk of the town. Everybody would have used it. They would come from afar to use it. And you might be wondering, well, what are they going to have to pay to use this? Of course, but not. We don't even set the price. This is public property. The city of Miami would be setting the price, and I'm sure the price would be very nominal to use the facility.
As an example, are there other parks that you have to pay to rent?
That's standard.
Right.
Standard.
So it's really no different.
It's no different. Yeah. So anyway, it took. So that we worked, or our lobbyist rather, we hired somebody to work directly with this commissioner to bring it to life. And it's complicated. I'm sure the city of Miami is no different from any other major city. It's really complicated to make these things happen. And
I mean, you spent years on this.
it took me 4.5 years, actually.
4.5 years. It's not an overnight thing. This was not a, hey, let's do this. This was hard work to get a lot of people to buy in.
A lot of people had to buy in, a lot. And it had to go to multiple commission hearings. The leadership of our district changed to a new commissioner.
Yeah, so as I understand this, Ken Russell was the
Yes.
commissioner who originally championed this.
Yes.
Happens to be a Democrat.
Yes.
Because this political stuff got a little hairy after a while.
Politics came into play.
Got a little crazy.
Yes.
Because in the beginning, when it was a Democrat leading this, he was super supportive. I remember him taking us on a tour to other neighborhoods, showing us what's been done before, and that something like this would be the first time, and maybe even set a potential model for other philanthropists, other successful people who live in Miami that want to give back, could potentially recreate this model.
That's
right?
what I was thinking. Not necessarily sports facilities, but where somebody did really well and is grateful to Miami would write out a check and create something for the community that's actually beneficial to everybody.
Okay, so let's fast forward.
Tell me.
Okay, you've got this fantastic idea. I loved it. I fell in love with it. What seems to be like a giving opportunity, what seems to feel like how could anyone turn this down? I mean, it's the land never becomes ours. And in fact, there was a little sneaky clause in there that after we built this thing, at any point in time they could take it away from us.
At any point in time, with the right number of votes, they could retract. After we write the check, after we build this, if circumstances are aligned, they could revoke the whole thing from us if they wanted to.
And I remember at that
You didn't
point
like that clause.
how naive you and I were. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I would say you were more naive in that one
Yeah.
because that rubbed me the wrong way from the beginning. But you were like, Layla, why would any government official take something away from us that we poured our heart and soul into? And I just thought, I don't know, but just something doesn't feel right, right? And I feel like it was God that retracted that whole thing because we could have set ourselves up for them to take it away anyway. And so we
Yeah.
might have saved
Yeah.
ourselves
Yeah.
years of heartache.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, fortunately, they were voting before we spent the money.
Thank God.
But we did spend 4.5 years, and we did spend some money in getting it going.
Mm-hmm.
But they showed us what they were capable of.
That's right.
And so the trust between us and the government was completely severed. Is that right? Did you feel that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, at least for now, I'm a hopeful kind of guy that, maybe in the coming years or decades, my taste towards the city of Miami, and I can't extend it to the Miami-Dade County. I'm just talking about the city of Miami. I sort of have a super bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, and you gave a very heartfelt speech. You were pissed.
And along the way, we've been defamed and trolled and attacked and villainized, trying to do a good thing. This really is a scary place to speak, Commissioner King, and to be. Nobody here will even look me in the eye. Most people will say, screw this. A little more background. The The new commissioner who replaced the old commissioner
Yeah.
is now the champion of the project.
Yes.
And he actually brought it over the finish line after 4.5 years. Contract signed. We were starting to do work on it, designs, engineering, architects, and so on. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, literally out of the blue, he gets arrested along with the lobbyist who we had retained to help to bring this project, to happen, for allegedly taking campaign contributions to prioritize this project to the detriment of other people's considerations for what this property might be.
And who are these other people?
These campaign contributions were our campaign contributions.
Yes, but I mean, who are these other people that supposedly were interested in the property?
So there's another school that's a few blocks away that apparently many years ago they had their sights set on relocating because they were running out of space and relocating and moving their school to this field, this property, and building a brand new school along with commercial residential tower sponsored by who knows what developers in Miami.
So basically taking a public park, converting it into a development space where a chartered school, right, which has limited amount of seats, that it's not open to the public, wants to take over that land, essentially for free.
Essentially, that's what, all of a sudden, it became like the highest priority of their lives.
And it would no longer be green space, even though we're truly lacking green space in that area.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't want to make it like our idea was better than their idea, because so what happened was the commissioner got swept up in this scandal. I believe he was fired by the governor. There was a new election in November 2023. Two district seats came up for election. They were two new replacements. First order of business of one of the new commissioners is, hey, let's retract that deal that the city has with the Centners. Okay, that was January of 2024. And we're like, what the fuck? What the hell is going on here?
Remember that.
And so what we did is we started meeting with the commissioners face to face, because they didn't really know who we were, to explain to them what our project was. We did not want them to pull the plug on this. And by the way, to pull the plug would require, as per our agreement, 4 out of 5 of the votes would have to be in favor of retracting it from us. And this was that scenario, was like, this is never going to happen. We're giving money to the city. This is just, the likelihood of this happening is just so incredibly remote. So I was hanging my head on that. But now it looks like this actually might come to pass.
Well, the first hearing went great.
Well, it went great because the opposition didn't show up.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we were ready. We were ready.
Yep.
We knew the hearing was happening. We showed up in force. God bless the parents of our school and members of the community. Showed up in force to make sure this wasn't a rubber stamp vote and retraction. Mm-hmm. And the commissioners, if they had voted on it that day, we would have won. So instead of voting on it, they deferred it.
Yeah.
So they deferred it to the next month. The next month, wow, the opposition showed up big time. And that's where that video of that lady is from. That's from that day at City Hall. They showed up in force, with pink shirts, angry, on fire at us, calling us the nastiest names.
And the speculation on our end was, what developer was funding this because they were afraid to lose that land that they themselves were trying to get to use?
Somebody was behind this. This was a very orchestrated campaign of vitriol against the Centners. Yeah. And we'll find out one day. We're going to figure it out.
Find out.
We always figure it out. Yeah. So they showed up in force. And again, the commissioners decided to defer it once again.
But this time the media also showed up.
The media showed up as well. Mm-hmm. So we started to get all over the news. Well, back in September, when the whole scandal was exposed, they started to link that the Centner's money, the campaign contributions, were behind this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I won't mention who, but one of the major local media outlets was very incorrect in their coverage of this and accused us of funneling money to the commissioners.
Yeah, and they refused to call it a donation.
that they would not call it a donation for the life, even though the agreement actually says donation agreement to the city. They would not call it a donation.
I remember saying to one of the ladies,
Reporters?
yeah, why are you calling it an investment? Investment means we will own this. It's a donation. Like, you know, it's, you know, when you hear that propaganda can be, you know, skewed.
Yes. That really upset me.
Because had they said contribution or donation, that the Centners would never own the land, that would have really changed public perspective.
That's right.
So the media was
It was
purposely
intentional.
and strategically
Yes.
trying to make us look like bad people.
Terrible. Yeah. And so they would not say the word donation. I wrote to them. I like beseeched them. And they wouldn't. They would
On
not.
purpose, because they
I'm
wanted.
like getting upset right now. Just
I can feel it.
Yeah.
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 Because they were trying to paint a picture.
That's right.
And
yeah.
what was that picture?
That we are dirty, really dirty. And what do you have there?
So let me pull out.
But
I got some Instagram comments.
oh, great, wonderful.
That you know I started to read them and they just really like irked my soul. So I at first I was replying, and then I had to stop. Like, I can actually read one of my replies, which was, "No one accused us of bribe. We were never officially accused of anything." Is that right?
We're actually technically we're witnesses for the prosecution.
Right. So there's no accusation against us.
Nope, not once.
Okay. And I say that. No one accused us of a bribe. Ask yourself this question. Why would we bribe anyone to donate money? This is to give away our hard-earned money, $10 million of it. It almost sounds ludicrous to bribe someone to give away our money for something that we were going to build that wasn't only for our community, for the public. Mm-hmm. The public would have truly enjoyed this project because there isn't anything else out there like this.
This has been the hottest destination in Miami.
And that's something that you and I love doing. We love doing things that no one else has done.
I like to bring community together, as you know.
Yes, and we have fun. I mean, we throw so many parties just for our community. We built a farm for our community. Mm-hmm. Like, this is who we are. Mm-hmm. And so,
not to mention health. We're all about health and wellness. This is checks that box. People can come and actually exercise instead of going out partying on a Saturday night.
Goodness. 24 hours a day it was going to be open.
Yeah, could have been.
And
where we would pay for all the operating costs and all the security and everything and people to run the place.
Yeah.
On our dime.
Yeah, and rain or shine, you could use the facility.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then somebody posts, prosecutors allege you and your husband funneled money through a lobbyist to interests controlled by former Commissioner Alex. So yes, you are being accused of bribing a public official.
I know.
Don't act crazy.
I know.
So that's one of the words. What word did they wordsmith to make it look like we were accused of something?
That we funneled money.
Funneled money.
Yeah. So I scrubbed the arrest affidavits because it's the source of all the information that everybody's relying upon, and nowhere does it allege anything of the sort. That really rubbed me the wrong way. So this thing is living out there, and I'm thinking this thing is living out there in the world that the Centners funneled money, and people are reading that and drawing conclusions about us. I have old friends. Please tell me it's not true, David. You know, that instantly got a different opinion of me. And I'm a pretty sensitive guy, as you know.
I used to call you Sensitive Dave.
That's my nickname, for better or for worse, in college, Sensitive Dave. I take that as a compliment.
I called you Sensitive Dave when we were first married.
I take it as a compliment.
It means
I feel
but
emotions.
You're not as sensitive anymore. You're a lot tougher. I don't know if Miami made you tougher, but
maybe this whole experience.
You're not as tougher.
Yeah.
You're not as sensitive.
So I'm thinking this is living out there, and people think that this is really more on me than you, you know, because it was
I was like, screw these guys.
And it was my baby. This is my project.
It's your baby.
Yeah, for 4.5 years I worked on this thing, and all of a sudden, and I did get swept up in your controversy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we could rewind just a little bit because we know the media is super leftist. We took a stance against vaccines. Well, I did, but you supported me. Thank you, honey. I appreciate that. And they really tried to just crush us to pieces.
And there's a dotted line to this
Well-
because they were opportunistic. We're going to get them now for good.
That's
We're going to
right.
give them a knockout shot.
So they tried to cancel us then,
Yeah.
failed.
Didn't really work.
And this particular news network,
Okay.
who couldn't take us down the first time, looked at it as an opportunity to take us down.
They went for it.
They went for it.
They went for it.
So they fabricated this word funnel.
To the point of fabrication. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I wrote to them, please change this. They refused. Another media publication, I'm not going to name either of them, easily, just at the request, because they were copying the first publication's reporting.
Yeah.
And I wrote to them, no, this is not the case. Look into this. And they changed it within an hour. But this other one refused to change it.
Super leftist one.
And it's week after week, month after month of this sitting out there that the Centner's funneled money. So here we are. They deferred in January. They deferred in February. Oh yeah, you
Let me
want to
read
do?
a few
Okay,
more.
great.
Let's
Trying to avoid
Let's
that.
keep going with this.
Go ahead.
I want you to tell me how you feel,
Okay, sure.
right? Thank goodness. Batshit crooked fucks.
Oh God.
Let me keep going. Typical Miami slime. Now, I remember you wanting to be that Miami golden boy child, the guy that had nothing, grew up with nothing, came back to Miami to just take care of your city. How did it feel when you read, or I don't know if you've seen this before, but typical Miami slime? Like, what do you feel when I even read that now? I mean, I could feel it.
It's disappointing.
I know. I'm even getting emotional because it's like
That wasn't the plan.
I saw you put your heart and soul.
That
into
wasn't the
this.
plan. That wasn't the plan.
I saw you. I watched you.
I just wanted to do something nice. That's all.
You worked your butt off,
Yeah.
and you were so excited at the idea and the vision to create something that kids would be able to enjoy year round. And it's not like philanthropy has been in our DNA even since before we sold the company, giving. I remember we
do
did
whatever
so
we
many
could,
amazing things in Brooklyn and New York.
Yeah. Harlem.
Buying brand new shoes and coats for kids who had never had brand new shoes and coats because you never had brand new shoes, and so
I wore hand-me-downs.
you did. And so this was kind of part of our DNA. I'm gonna read a few more.
Thank you.
Garbage. I have yet to meet a wealthy person that didn't account for every penny and where it went. Okay. I mean, some of these I won't even read because they're just too graphic. Hope y'all get prison time for bribing a public official and attempting to fraudulently acquire public land.
Yeah, I mean,
Again, were we ever going to acquire this land?
this poor person is drawing a conclusion based upon extraordinarily faulty reporting. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Propaganda.
Yeah.
That's why when the media is in control and you don't have an opportunity to say your piece, and this is why actually we're doing this show, because we want to give people that other side, their ability to share these heartfelt stories and understand that everybody deserves a voice. And when you just hear one side, it paints this picture that in this case, and in many cases, for many people that experience this, it's just plain wrong. Obviously they commented on my looks, which I think is just
So first of all,
insane.
I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. And they took photographs of you and me in the courtroom and elsewhere, you looking like a evil alien,
Yeah.
right? Remember?
Yeah.
And then people commented about like all kinds of, modifications you made to your face. I mean, look at you. I mean, this is stunningly naturally beautiful.
honey.
Thank you.
No, they would take the worst
The
photo
worst.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just say horrible things. I mean, like children in a playground. Let's start name calling.
Yeah.
Here you go. What a crock of shit. High net worth families are really starting to appear more like sewer people. These two are 100% scum.
This was not the script that I envisioned when we moved back to Miami, really. It was, everything went cockeye. This is not how I mean, as we sit here now, I'm sure there's a relatively large percentage of the community of Miami who continues to think these things about us.
Read a few of them for me.
These people are so corrupt that their lies don't make anything. How is it that people who write this stuff, their English and grammar is so poor, right? At least if you're gonna,
you're a grammar snob.
if they,
My grammar is not nearly as great as
if they're gonna blast people, at least make it grammatically correct, right? These people is so corrupt that that their lies don't make anything and they don't care. Plop. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Just the scum we clearly do not need to add in Miami. There's enough. Somebody's calling us enough already, maggots. I mean, it's horrible. There's an old cartoon, I think New York Magazine, it's a picture of a dog in front of a computer, and it says, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. People can be like the worst part of themselves on the internet.
So let's fast forward.
Yeah.
What was the end result?
Okay, so
Where do we go?
there was going to be a hearing in March. It might have been deferred, might not. We were actually, ironically, at a meditation retreat far away
In Portugal.
in
I remember
Portugal, many hours ahead. And it was supposed to be no devices, put our devices in the safe, put them away so we could really focus. But March 8th, I believe it was, there was going to be a hearing. And I needed to mobilize everybody. I needed to have a show of force. I just done it in February. It was deferred. I have to do it equally or bigger show of force in March.
And you did an amazing job, by the way.
I did, but I was completely consumed in my phone the whole time. Not
You
getting
wanted to give a good fight.
had to.
Yeah.
I'm not rolling over for anybody, as you know. So
You did a great job.
Thank you. I did the best.
Yeah.
I'm not going out without
But in
fight.
the end, we were like, we're not giving these people our money. We're not even going to let them vote against us. We pulled out.
Yeah, so we put
Because
so we
we
show
were
up.
like,
Yeah.
why are we begging the city to give them our money? What is wrong with us?
So at the hearing, we still held out hope that this is going to go forward. But we saw the school board had shown up, the superintendent of the school showed up. She was given unlimited airtime to speak from the head commissioner, and they're all chummy. Nobody would even look at us. And I'm like, this is going to be voted down, like, for sure. And like, before I give them the satisfaction of voting this thing down, when it's my turn to speak, I'm pulling this effing deal from them. And that's what I did. I went up to the microphone and I said, screw you.
Well, you whispered in my ear that that's what you wanted to do, and should we do it?
Yeah,
And
we
I
talked
was-
about it.
So
yeah.
we talked about it a little bit
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
If it doesn't look
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah,
going the right way, like, why should we continue? Because it doesn't feel good.
that's right.
And then you reached over and you were like, I think it's time.
Yeah.
This is not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not feeling. I'm not having any more
It's supposed to be fun.
enjoyment out of
Yeah.
this was supposed to be fun. This was
Yeah.
supposed to be an opportunity to give back.
Oh, whipping boy, we're getting our asses kicked
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
And so I was like, I support you, honey.
yeah,
Whatever you do, I'm right behind you.
that's right. So pulled the plug, emerged out of City Hall. All the camera crews awaiting us. It was really weird. We've never been in that situation before. And that was the end of that deal. That was it.
There were a couple good interviews online. Maybe Alex can dig those up and we can post 30 seconds of them.
Sure.
There were a couple good articles too that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so fast forward, you pull out.
Yeah, so
You
that
get
day,
blasted even more.
well, that day, somehow this major media publication also got their hands on the transcripts of the depositions we had given all the way back in September, and in it they fabricated yet another mistruth that said that we were granted immunity in exchange for testifying.
Yeah. They took out a
Yeah.
little piece.
Yeah.
And they totally changed the context.
Yeah.
Not explaining that everybody gets that.
Everybody automatically gets immunity when you're called to testify in front of the prosecutor.
Yet again, the media manipulating a piece to paint a picture that they wanted the public
Yeah.
to see.
So now, not only do we funnel money, but we're granted immunity in order to evade prosecution. We look guilty as shit. We look fucking criminal, really bad. And so that was March, and God, it just really fires me up.
That's what I want to know. Share with me your feelings. Like, go back there. How did you feel? Like, what was going on in your mind? And what did you do to deal with it? How did you bring yourself back to a calm place? How did you finally get to a point where you're like, you know what? Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it behind me. It's over. I'm done. Like, map it out for me.
Well, I did. I was like, all right, it's over. But it's emotionally.
Share the feelings first so I can understand.
Yeah, so it was very complicated because I felt a lot of emotion. I felt anger for sure. I felt sadness for sure because I lost a deal that I had been working on that was really meaningful to me and for people.
You had this vision of like, meditating, athletes that knew how to bring themselves to a calm place and not be an athlete that has anger or frustration or annoyance, but they can be like Zen, therefore be a better athlete. That was your big vision.
Yeah, for purpose of the school and for the larger community, just a really great place as an alternative to whatever they're doing to go and play and be together and have fun together in the spirit of athletic competition. So
you're feeling deflated.
I felt sad, and you know what? I felt a lot of embarrassment, and I felt a lot of shame. It's the weirdest feeling when, for me anyway, I can only speak for me. I would go somewhere, and I felt like everybody in this room knows who I am, and everybody in this room thinks I'm like maybe a criminal, like a bad guy.
Yeah. You let other people's, perspective on you harm. It was more meaningful to you than me. I was like, screw them.
For sure.
I was like, they want to believe it's garbage.
Well,
they're not people that need to be in our circle.
Well, maybe because you are already an expert of cancel culture
It's
twice
true.
over. You had a lot more experience than me.
it's probably-
It was my first rodeo.
Yes. Even though you were the anti-vaxxer tech
I was
entrepreneur.
the reluctant activist. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, but this one was like really
all you.
this was all
This is
me.
all you.
And I really felt like everywhere I went, people like knew and were thinking thoughts about me that were very, very unkind, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I'm not wired that way. Look, I'm not perfect. Just want to make that clear. I'm a pretty good guy, and I try to do really good things for my family and for those around
You're
me.
an awesome dad.
Great
husband.
I try my best.
Really good friend.
And so I went from most people before all this controversy actually shared probably this opinion about me. That I went from that to he's freaking criminal dude, He's a bad guy. He's willing to bribe people and do funny business. Yeah. Wow, And I felt really ashamed. And I started to not go out very much. Started to stay home more. Probably started drinking a little bit more than I should have.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with you, like, whoa, what's going on here? I had to pull you back a little.
It was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. It was very hard for me. And I remember I'd lie in bed thinking, what is going on here? This is just surreal. Why? How did I get into the situation? And I felt, this is a stretch of a metaphor, but some women who are victims of rape feel like, what did they do? Maybe they dressed a little too provocatively or whatever and brought it on themselves. And I was thinking, what did I do? What's my contribution here that I got here? What did I do wrong? It took me months and months and months, literally a long time for me to realize I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do
Well,
anything
I
wrong.
keep telling you that.
But it's one thing for you to
Yeah,
tell me that.
yeah,
It's the other
sure.
thing, like to really
You gotta
own it.
realize it yourself.
Yeah. I didn't own that. It took me a long time. And we were getting to the end of the school year. I think what changed everything for me was it's a process. It's a process to pull yourself out of this and find your
because I
grounding.
remember
again.
there was that moment that you did, because you were like, there was a moment of a lull where you were in it, and I
was
couldn't get you
down.
out.
I was depressed.
I couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
You know, I whatever I said didn't matter.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, right before all the shit hit the fan, is we had celebrated in late July our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was like, wow, life is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then somebody I got pink eye at the wedding,
Yes, my mom.
who gave the gift of sharing it to 10 other people.
Yes.
Which and a couple of emergency room visits was a really bad strain of pink eye.
Worst pink eye.
And eventually I got it. You all thought I was like a superhuman. I hadn't gotten it.
Yes.
Eventually got me too. So this was like about a 10-week period of pink eye after everything's like perfect in the world. And then boom, this happened. And so this wasn't like, things started to unravel in my life in a way, starting with the pink eye. And it took me I'm probably like 8 months or more before I was able to get my head back on straight. And the way it started to come together was first of all, some practical things. Like we hired the best defamation attorneys in the world, who did a very analytical legal communication to the offending parties.
We were prepared to sue this.
We're going to sue the
media
shit out of
company.
them. Yeah.
Because we were able
and we
to-
still hold that. I just want to make it clear. We still reserve that right to sue them, and we still have not
We
decided.
have a lot of evidence that they strategically, in a calculated way, tried to take us down.
That's right. That's right. And there are actually damages that we're seeing with certain financial relationships that are either being pulled or are going south as a direct result of this.
I remember the phone call of our insurance being canceled
Yeah.
because of our reputation.
Yeah.
So it's like we weren't even accused of anything. How is it that how can these companies already inflict damage and say, you're not good enough to be our customer because of your reputation when we weren't accused of
We're a
anything?
risk factor now. All of a sudden, because of faulty reporting, intentionally faulty reporting, we're a risk factor that, like, let's just stay away from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, some messes up our relationships.
So what happened? How did you get out of it? What did you do? And what was that?
So I think the best thing that happened was school ended, and we did a RV. We rented an RV in the Midwest, just us and
Whose
the
idea
girls.
was
That was
that?
it. That's been a idea for years and years and years. It was on your bucket list.
Yes.
We rented an RV. Where would we start off in Austin, Texas? Was it? I think it
Texas,
was,
yeah.
Texas somewhere. And it was a beautifully intimate. Anybody who's ever rented an RV, it doesn't get more intimate than that. You can't escape each other. Everybody's triggers are bubbling up, and it really set things into perspective. That all this stuff is really meaningless. What's really the most important is my family unit, the love and the connection that I have with everybody around me, for better, for worse. Even when things are, people are triggered and all that. That's the goal. That's really, really meaningful to me, and just to let it go, and not let the attorneys handle it the way they can. Fine, the deal didn't happen. Like you said earlier, probably the best thing that we didn't actually start spending money on this,
Yeah, 10 million other things we can do with $10 million, right?
which we will.
Exactly.
That's right.
I think we bought some property after that
Or
that we actually own.
what's that?
We bought some property with that money that we would actually.
Well, I
own.
want to do more philanthropy.
Yeah, but I know we did spend it on some real estate. So
Yeah.
right.
So I think I was able to sort of practically let it go because there are people working on our behalf to make these people shut the hell up, stop beating us up.
Yeah.
I felt like a whipping post, and I felt like I didn't have a voice. And that, like you said, this show gives people a voice. I had no social media of my own. no media publication is going to write anything friendly about us or do any kind of friendly thing. I felt completely silenced and very, very alone. I felt really it was very isolating. I was also
You felt alone even though I was with you?
yeah, I felt alone. And don't take this the wrong way, because I know it's not about you. I was a little angry with you because I felt like the only reason why we're in this situation, this is my logical, the only reason why we're in this situation in the first place is because the media is really pissed off about the controversy that you started with the vaccine. And if she hadn't done that, then we wouldn't be in this situation at all. And that's really unfair.
And really, at the end of the day, pharma controls the media. So it's really, there was somebody at the top that was like, take these people down for making a stance
Yeah.
against the vaccine. And then it just
Yeah, and I'm
continued.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but it did strain us a little bit, more because I probably pulled back, and I really went into my head. I lost my heart, and it took me. So that summer trip was really
I
great.
remember we had a few conversations. I'm like, where did you go? Like, come back. Like,
Yeah,
when you do that, that means they won. And at the end of the day, if something is that hard, it's not meant to happen. And so for us, we just needed to learn from it. What did we need to learn from that and move on?
Mm-hmm.
Because the further we make this a big deal, or we hurt each other, or go so inward that it impacts our kids or our relationship, then we've lost.
I got really snappy, with you, with the kids, and it's not like me, That's not who I am.
But you were meditating during that time. So what were you just having a hard time bringing it back together? Because you would wake up every morning, you would do your breath work, you would pray, you would be in silence, you would do it at night. Was it not bringing you back?
I could bring it back, but then, you get obsessed about it. You just think about it all the time. It's a constant reminder. A lot of obsessive thinking about it, and so I
Keeps you in a suffering state.
I
we
did.
learned that.
Yeah, I do. I relied on the tools that I've learned just to bring it back. Bring it back. Find that peace as many times a day if I needed to. I'd go to sleep and meditate. Whatever it took. Whatever it took. And knowing that it's a process that I need to. I need to figure this out like a puzzle. And I think I realized that in one way, like this lady, like we're all connected. We are energetically, I'm not that distant from her. And I don't fault her. I'm not angry with her. We're just, humans are very messy. And we're imperfect, but at the end of the day, we're very connected with each other. And that group of people got super angry and tried to hurt us. Mm-hmm. And I think I found my compassion for those people, because it's they were taught. They were manipulated.
They manipulated themselves.
They were manipulated. They were maybe even used in a way. I don't know the full story of how and why they got so angry with us.
So going back to that summer, we spent a beautiful time together in an RV where it was just us, and you started to just reevaluate your priorities. Is that what happened? You just started to reconnect with the simple things. I mean, I remember
simple things.
Cooking dinner on that little stovetop and, squeeze,
Oh my God.
Just really just laughing
simple.
together. And
That's a great way to put it. It's just to do a $10 million donation with a very complex city organization that takes multiple years is really complex. I think you're absolutely right. It brought it back to the beauty is in the simplicity of things. Just waking up and taking the dog outside for a walk I'm in a new RV park that I wasn't at, yesterday. Mm-hmm. and going to see some national monuments and beautiful mountains and going river rafting and just being with my family. I mean, laughing or crying or being angry or all of that stuff is really, that's the gold. That's really important to me. And that stayed with me to this day. So I emerged from that summer intact and strong.
Yeah.
And I found my footing again. I felt really grounded, really connected to you, more in love with you than ever.
Thank you, honey.
And that is maybe the lesson in all of this. It's in the simple things. And sometimes when we try to force things to happen that aren't meant to be, just we're assigning so much value to it, so much importance to it, and that's maybe there's some ego in there, possibly.
Definitely. No, I'm not saying in a bad way. I mean, you wanted to, like a king wanting to give back to his people. Like, it was an honorable gesture, but I feel like you almost, your identity got tied into that.
I think so, a little bit.
And that's when, I mean, it was a good opportunity to then reflect and say, hey, it's just, we're sitting here in an RV right now and we're just loving on each other.
Yeah.
We're just walking in the forest. Or what was the springs that we saw?
Oh, the Old Faithful?
Yeah, that was cool. Just
Gotcha.
sitting there waiting for it to get just this majestic view. I mean, just so basic but so beautiful.
Right? Yeah. And if these other opportunities come along, I mean, we have a lot of projects, and many of them are not simple. They're complex, but I don't think I assign the same value to them now. They're really about fun, and for me anyway, the things that I'm wired for is fun, bringing community together in the spirit of joy and connection and love. And if we can make some money at it too, even better, because then I could scale it and bring that experience to even more people. That's what I really like.
So, David, you were super vulnerable today. I appreciate that. Appreciate how candid you are. And I'm sure there are other people watching this show that are in a similar situation. What advice would you give to them?
Well, it was kind of a surprise. It was like being hit by a 2x4. Didn't see it coming, and my world, was turned upside down. And I think that if anything, it's just you must operate from a foundation of peace. You have to get there. Somehow you need to find that peace, and there's lots of ways to find that, whether it's through medicine or some advisor of yours, whether it's an analyst.
When you say medicine, are you talking about plant-based medicine, plant-based mushrooms, ketamine? What do you mean by medicine?
Sure, that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, I under doctor's care, I did had some ketamine treatments, which I found extremely helpful to me.
I heard it kills your ego, and you just become nothing but everything all together, right?
Yeah, it puts everything in perspective, and then you realize it's instantly a 60,000-foot view. Like, none of these issues are meaningful at all, and
and we're all really just one.
Yeah, we are. We're all really just one, and we're making a big deal out of a whole bunch of nothingness, and just carry on. That's a really good place to be from. And so whatever it is, however you get there, medicine, meditation, some advisors, your priest, your rabbi, your therapist, whatever it is, you need to find that peace, because that's where you want to start to make your decisions from. And it's going to be a process. The gurus in India also experience disruptive things in their lives as well, but they've got their disruption down to just a few seconds and not that intense. Yeah. With normal human beings like us, the duration is much longer and the intensity is much deeper. So the idea is to shorten that. I'm really proud of myself that this whole experience, as crazy as it was, the whole lifespan from being knocked on the side of my head to finding my peace again was probably about 8 months. And I think I'm a better person as a result.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think I can handle a lot more. I can handle this stuff now much better.
From an observer, I feel like it strengthened your soul and made you a stronger person.
I needed it somehow.
Sometimes we need a good kick in the butt.
I love the format of this show. This is great. I feel like I got a big burden lifted off my shoulders here.
Well, if there's anyone listening to this show at the moment and you have a similar story or a different story, but you've been canceled, it could have to do with being accused sexually. It could have to do with anything really. And you were found to be innocent and you went through the gamut. You went through all the emotions, but you were able to recover in the end. Or maybe even you have a relative who didn't recover in the end and they're no longer here with us because they took their lives and you want to share that story. We encourage you to send us an email, reach out to us, because we would like to have more people on our show that can also share their story, especially if they feel like they haven't been heard and they have something big that they want to say and they have things that they want to get off their heart. So please join us at erase.com and click on the link to send us an email, and we'd love to hear from you.
And if you like the show, make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And thank you for watching.